Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to Crafters TV. My name's Ben Moseby. Yes, not been here for a few days, have I really? So if you're wondering who this guy is, remember me? I was here a little while back. Used to do a few of the shows, you know. Thought I'd come back in today. Had a little bit of time off, but you know, back in today. Looking forward to this show, Crafty Stash. These all about, well, doing exactly what the title of the show suggests. Craft your stash. If you've got items at home, in your craft room, and you're thinking to yourself, what on earth do I need to use here? How on earth do I use this here? This is the show to watch. I know yesterday, fantastic glue school. Today, going to be concentrating on all things when it comes to your scoreboards. So, anything that you want to know when it comes to the range of scoreboards that we have, ask the questions. When it comes to things like your construction, ask the questions. If it comes to things like box making in particular, ask those questions. Maybe you've got an array of the different scoreboards in your craft room right now and you're going, don't know which one does what. I don't know, you know, which one works with which. Then, well, make sure you get in touch. Well, I want to make this show as interactive as possible. So please ask the questions. Anything you want to see at all as well. Anything you want to see, request, and we'll do our very best. No pressure on me over the course of this show, because I will be asking the questions alongside you to the oracle who is the other side of the studio, the one and only Mr. Craig Laird. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you very much. Yeah, really, really well. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Of course, you may have noticed it was originally meant to be Sarah.
Yes.
Just a little bit under the weather. She's absolutely fine. But I just thought while I was going to be here for later on, she was on HSN USA yesterday, so I'm just stepping in for her. You know, Leanne was under the weather yesterday.
Yeah.
She's back in. She's absolutely fine. She is in. So
Doing
just
the
with me
rounds.
being here, just stepping in here. Just like Glue School, when I had a quick chat with Leanne, I've done the same when it comes to, of course, this box making with Sarah. Get a little bit of an idea as to the direction that she was going to be going in. I have, in all honesty, hands up, got nothing prepped as such. As Ben said, it's about the questions. I've got the scoreboard, the envelope maker, I've got cardstock here. We do have some of the box making dies, so we'll maybe run through some of them ones, Ben. Some people, maybe as a little bit of advanced or intermediate with box making and dies, you might think, well, it's really simple. You die cut, you form, and then you create the box. I'll talk you through a little bit about the connections of the joints when it comes to box making, but what it's also really good when it comes to this show about box making, it's a continuation from Glue School, because then I talked you through the different adhesives that you can use for your glue and your construction yesterday, so they just tie in really well together. This is why it kind of makes sense that I've gone from Glue School into box making, but yeah, we're going to have a fun couple of hours. Anything specific that you're wanting to see, the envelopes and the boxes, we'll talk you through it.
We'll say a few hellos. Yeah, literally ask these questions, because otherwise, you know what, if you don't kind of like ask a question or want to see a request, we're just going to be like this for the 2 hours. I mean, we'll do something. Susie says, the boys are back. Yes, the boys are back in town. It was Craig today who answered the back call. You know, the signal went up in the sky, and Craig was here. Craig was in. Look, that's exactly what he did. That's what he did. So yeah, Craig's in, obviously. Sarah. Vanessa Fuentes says, good morning everyone from Florida. Hello. Sheila Faulkner says, good afternoon everyone from Liverpool. Hi. Donna Yams in from Florida. Hey to Alicia Gordon, who says, good morning from a stormy Arkansas, working from home. Lois is in, saying, good morning everyone from Ohio. Lynn Blackledge says, hashtag Go Live Granny. Good afternoon from the Isle of Wight. Looking forward to this. Going to be an awesome show. Kathy Myers joins us from Missouri. Georgianne Curley's in from Clearwater, Florida. And Sarah Brown says, hello, hello. Special hugs to you all, especially you two of my favourite people. Yes, Ben and Craig.
Ah, you flaming galah.
Sending love and hugs to you all and the Crafters TV crew from Melbourne, Australia. It's now 1 a.m. and we're in daylight savings, so definitely more in your futures. Haha. Zoe Carver's in saying, afternoon everyone from West Sussex. Couldn't think of anything better than Craig, Ben and box making on my birthday. It's a birthday, Craig.
Oh, happy birthday, Zoe.
Happy birthday. Sherlan Telsford is in from San Antonio. Lynn's in from Indiana. Trisha Love from Atlanta. Kirsty D from up the road. Laura Hernandez is in from Virginia. And Olga Vasquez says, hello all. Boss is on jury. What? Boss is on jury duty? What? Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I see. So you can watch. And Lois says, hi, Ben. Hi, Ben, you handsome dude. We couldn't forget you and we always miss you.
Who was that from, Laura Moseby?
I did not write that myself, Johnny. We've got Johnny and Charlotte, the comedians, in the gallery over the course of the next couple of hours as well.
It's been a long time since the 4 of us, 5 of us including Jake, that have all been together.
Has actually, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
Because Ben's a part-timer, they just said.
You know, we've all been here. I know you've not really been here a lot, but...
Let's move on. You'll be sick of the sight of me in about 2 weeks' time. But anyway, let's get cracking on. So much to chat about. You bring the questions into us, right? And as we go over the show, it will become more interactive, hopefully, and we'll do more of your requests. But as we get started, it's kind of your call, Craig, where you want to start here. So we're going to start off with the scoreboards, yeah? We're
going to start with a good old scoreboard, an absolute essential that every single crafter needs to have within their stash, bar none.
Yeah.
Now, what we have got, what I will say as well, you've got your scoreboards that are incorporated with the Ultimate Pro. We're not really focusing on the Ultimate Pro within this show here. Yes, it is a box maker, many other forms that you can do. Tune in on Friday when it comes to Debbie. Debbie's going to be here with Ben, so they'll be having a look at the Ultimate Pro, so they can take over that direction.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your scoreboard, so we've got a number of scoreboards here. They all do the same thing. It's just about the sizes. It's about what you like to work with size-wise. What I mean by that is we can see we've got the big score, but what we've also got as well is our score master. Now, both of these, this is what I was referring to a moment ago, Ben.
Yeah.
Both of these do exactly the same job. Exactly the same job. The only difference is the size. So, of course, you can see the size difference. This is going to enable you to score up to A3 in size. So if you really want to go big, you can do that. You've then got your score master. This is then enabling you to do, maybe you're going to be doing smaller boxes, smaller score. You don't always need your large scoreboard. We've got our score master then. It's going to fit your A4, but it's a little bit longer as well. Now, when it comes to your scoreboards, you're always going to get your scoring tool as well, which is a godsend, because that's going to give you the best tool to do the job. Now, on each side, you've then got your inches on one side, but then if you flip over onto the other side, you've then got your centimetres. So if you're into your centimetres or into your inches, that's got you covered. What I would always recommend as well, when it comes to the scoreboards, you'll see many of ours have a black line.
Preempted my question.
There you go. Yes, yours doesn't come with a black line.
No.
And I'll show you through in this show as well why the black line actually is a godsend when it comes to scoring. You'll have actually seen me yesterday with the template library, Ben, and I even showed you then by doing some of the projects how useful that black line is. Now, if you're wanting to use this as a generic scoring board, you can absolutely do that. Taken in your cardstock, whether it is your white multi-purpose to be doing, of course, all things such as your card blanks, then of course you can do that. Simply scoring in half. I'm just going to go in with my scoring tool here. So you're going to go up to your left-hand side. Now, the left-hand side is a true measurement. And because this is a box making scoring board as well. So what I mean by that is, and we're going to talk you through all of this throughout the next couple of hours. You've also got your measurements along the bottom here, but that isn't an actual true representation of the measurement. That is just out by a tiny, tiny little bit. And that's because this is going to be your box base side for you doing your boxes and your box bases. If I come back into the left-hand side, so your left-hand side, and it tells you embossed at the bottom, box lid. So if you're going to do your box lids, you're going to pop them up to this left-hand side. As I say, we'll talk you through that just shortly. The reason that I was just saying that now is because this is true measurement. So if I wanted to use this as a form of measuring, I can absolutely use this because it's true. I wouldn't use the measurements along the bottom because they're just a little bit out. So by going into the left-hand side of your card, what we can then do is we can then just come along and simply score. Now, whether it's white multi-purpose, black cardstock, Centura Pearl, luxury, whatever it is, I always like to score lightly and maybe 2, 3 or 4 times. It's just stretching the fibres. It's just all about you're stretching, you're manipulating the fibres to make it flexible. That's then going to stop it from feathering or even just kind of buckling.
That's a good point you make, because I've read a few comments over the years where people have kind of gone in and scored but then been quite heavy-handed with their first score. So it's more about many times but lightly, yeah?
Absolutely,
Okay.
do it lightly. If you go heavy-handed one time, what you can do is you're really just pushing the card, you're pushing the fibres, and you're splitting them. So you just want to gently manipulate them, going nice and slow and soft, and you're building up that flexibility. That goes for anything when it comes to scoring. You then get a lovely, nice, professional scored edge that really does show it off when you do it into black cardstock. So if you come even into a black cardstock, we can just do that once again. We can then come along, we can then score, and we're going to do it lightly and a few times.
Yeah.
Going to fold that one over, give that a burnish, and then what you're left with is again that professional edge. Look at that, there is no sheen, there's no shimmer, there's no splitting, there's no nothing on the black matte cardstock. And that is all predominantly as well about giving it a score lightly and a few times. So that is your first one.
Just a question as well. So I'm going to be asking questions. I
no,
love
go
these
for it.
shows. You know, if you were thinking about buying a scoreboard today, is there a place for the big score and the Scoremaster? Or if you were going for one, would you, because it's bigger, generally go for the bigger board?
Yeah, good, great question. Yes, if you're only going for one, it's like a die cutting machine. If you can only go for one, you only go for one, go for the bigger one.
Right.
Because if you're going for the bigger one, it means you can do everything. If you go for the smaller one, you're just that little bit more restricted. So if you were to go for a specific one, go for the big score, because it's giving you the ability to score up to A3. So that's your boxes as well, your card blanks, your concepts, all of these. So I suppose it goes with anything in life. If you go for the bigger, it just means that you can do everything, whereas just a little bit, not muchly restricted, just a little bit when it comes to your Scoremaster. But then what you can then start to do as well is, if I bring in just another piece of card, can I just say as well, none of this will go to waste. This will all get reused. But then you can then start to do, specific styles as well. So if you love to do things such as your fold backs, you can start to do all of your fold backs. If you want to come along and do things such as your DL cards, you can do. And what I mean by that is I've scored at 4 inches and then I've scored at 8 inches. And then all that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go and I'm going to fold in at that first one, and then take in any of your cutting tools. Maybe you're going to be using your paper trimmer from, of course, your Ultimate Pro. I'm just going to then follow that score line that I've done here, and that's now me created a really simple DL card. So I'm using my cutting tool and my scoreboard as a form to give me my true card blanks. So that is giving you your inches on one side. As I said, you're just going to do exactly the same on the opposite side, but if you do it within your centimetres. Your centimetres, you've got half centimetres. Within your inches side, you've got 1/8 of an inches that you can go all the way up. So even if you're wanting a specific size box, 7 and, it could be 7/8 if you wanted it to be, you're able to do that. So you've got more flexibility, capacity to do the boxes to fit the projects that you want to do. So if I then just move that one out of the way at the moment, I'm not going to then go into a box just yet. I just want to really keep it to things such as your scoring. I'm going to bring in just another bit of cardstock here.
Question at this point, because I think you might be going on to this, but Lois says, this is such a good question, says, how do you know how much paper or card to cut when making a box?
And that's a good question, and I'll talk you through that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, talk you through that just shortly, because there is a way. I do a little pencil note to my side, and I'm going to show you that just shortly. I'm going to show you my way of doing it as a visual, and then it's a nice way for you to then work your box size to work in the card, the project, the gift that you're then going to be making. But what you can then also do, and this is going on when it comes to your concepts as well, and you can have a look on our website, you can have a look at Pinterest and Google and Yahoo and all of those for lots of different templates that are scoreboard based. What I mean by that is this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my cardstock to 8 by 8. So if I go 8 by 8, and this is going to work for 6 by 6, 7 by 7, really any square that you've got. I'm going to come along here and then I'm going to do my 2 inches. So I'm going to go up to my left and I'm going to score at 2 inches. And then I'm going to then score at 2 inches. And then I'm going to score at 2 inches. and then I'm going to come along, and then I'm just going to then score once again at my 2 inches. So what I can then start to do as well, Ben, is then I can start to do my own decoration.
Yeah.
That can then be for like a little topper into the into the centre. If you don't have things such as embossing folders, you're going to be able to use your scoring board as a form of decoration. And it's entirely up to yourself how and where you use it as the decoration. And what I mean by that is you might want to score every line, you might want to come along and just use selective lines, but what you can do is you can then start to create all of your own patterns. So if I then just tilt that, so this could be now, that could be my topper in the middle, that could be around the memory books if you want it to be. But one last thing as well, just before we move on, what I then want to do is if I bring in another piece here, and I'm going to do this within a piece of larger card. So I'm going to go in with my 12 by 12. So this is where my big score is going to come in really, really handy. And then I'm going to cut this at 9 by 9. So if I go in 9 inches by 9 inches. Incidentally, what you can also do, if you're relatively new but you don't have a guillotine or a paper trimmer, you can come along, Ben, let's take another one, and then come along and down one side, go up to your 9 inches. I'm just going to do that lightly. I don't need to do it a few times because I'm not going to then score this, or I'm not going to then fold this. What I'm doing, Ben, is I'm giving myself a guide. So if you don't have a guillotine, a paper trimmer, craft knife, anything like that, you can use your scoreboard as a form of measuring. All that you then need to do is then come along and follow your emboss lines. So essentially, instead of a pencil line or a pen line, we're using our emboss line as the line for you to then cut. So don't always think as though you have to have all of these additional cutting tools. Your basis for a lot of things stem from a scoreboard. So there we are. I've done that 9 by 9 on the guillotine, but I've also done that 9 by 9 now using the scoreboard. And then what we can do is if I go in at 3 inches, and I'm going to do that at 3 inches all the way round. And what I'm going to show you here is incorporating this central black line here. I'm going to go in the 3, and then last but by no means least, I'm going to go in at the 3.
Getting some good questions and requests coming in here.
Awesome.
You're going to be busy.
Awesome, right. So what we'll do is before we go and into the next bit, looking forward to hearing these questions. So what I'm going to do at this point here is this tip, Ben, I've got this on the black line.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go for that base tip also on the black line that we can see just here. Now that then means that that's given me corner to corner. So I'm going to come along and I'm going to start at the top, and then I'm going to come down to where my 3-inch connection is. I'm just going to move my board up to make it easier for you to see, and then I'm going to do the same again just here. So this is where that black line on your scoreboard, if you choose to put that in, is really going to help. And the reason being, let's use a different line. Now for me, there's my chosen line there, but I don't actually know where the correct line is down at the bottom here.
Yeah.
Whereas by going in with your black line, and we just happen to put it at the halfway point of 6 inches, it means visually I can match my point within that black line. I can then match my base point to the black line, and then I know that's going to be completely straight. So I'm going to come corner to that first corner within that square. I can continue because I know that I'm in that right guide. And then what we can start to do is we can then start to do concept cards, we can start to do explosion cards.
Wow.
So we can then come and take them here, and then we're just going to go in and we're just going to fold in.
Yeah.
So each of these corners that we folded and scored, we're just going to fold them in. We're just then going to fold them in, and then we're just going to fold them in here. So we're starting to create our explosion from that base, and then come along here, and I know of course that that is 3 inches, and that's 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come along here, And then I want my lid, of course, to be 3 inches. So the top has to be 3 inches, but it's entirely up to yourself, the actual lip of the box. So I'm going to say 1 inch lip. So therefore, I need my cardstock to be 3 inches plus 1 inch on one side and then 1 inch on the other. So there's 5. And I need it exactly the same the other way around. So I'm going to cut my card and I'm going to go to 5 by 5. And because I said I want my lip to be 1 inch, I'm going to go in, I'm going to then score at the 1 inch.
Okay.
And score all the way around. So that's now taken into account. That's me got my 3 inches here, and then I've got my lips at the side.
So if you want a 2 inch lip here, for example, you just go 6 by 6 and score at 2?
Yes.
Oh, the mass is going in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So when it comes to the lid of any of the boxes that you make, what you're going to do is you're just going to use that size. You're going to then use that platform size, and then all that you're going to do is you're then just going to decide yourself how much depth you want the lip to be within the panels. So we're just going to then take all of that, we're going to fold all of that, we're going to bring all that in, and then if we refer, of course, back to glue school yesterday, I'm going to then bring in my tape runner here. Talked you through, of course, red liner tape and tacky glue, but for the sake, of course, of this show, I'm going to use my tape runner, which is more than adequate for your construction. I'm then just going to come along, we're just going to press that into place here, and then we're just going to then add that in, bring that in over the top, and then we've got our perfect lid, all of which has just been created from our scoreboard. You've got your explosion, pop little gifts in there, little treats in there, and then you can then come along, you can start to do all your mats and layers, you can do your decoration as well.
That is brilliant. And hopefully, just by doing these shows, you kind of are now sort of beginning to understand as things get kind of like broken down into you know, smaller detail for you. We have got questions and requests coming through, which I think we'll tackle the other side of just a break in a second. We'll say a few hellos to Lynn, who's joined us from Newcastle. Morning, everyone. Nanny to the girls. Yeah, it's a big night tonight, isn't it, for Newcastle? First time in the football in the Champions League. It's the first game at St James Park for 20 years, I think, isn't it, in the Champions League? Paris Saint-Germain in town. Karen Zweigart says, hello from Ephrata in Pennsylvania. Did I say that correct? Let me know. Teresa Adams in from California and Eleanor Fleck from Pennsylvania. Clarice says, hi all from California. Hi all from South Carolina, it says here. Woot woot, Ben and Craig. Woot woot. Hi also to Mary Beth Doyle, Lillian Kwok, and Carolyn Wilson, who says, hello, gentlemen, from a sunny Florida. Keep the comments coming. We'll say a few more hellos and ask those questions and do some requests in just a few moments' time as well. But whilst we get ready to do that, and by the way, worth mentioning, all of these scoreboards for you available on the website. So if you are seeing anything that Craig is using, just hit the Shop the Day button and you'll be able to see the selection of scoreboards and more. And indeed, you'll be able to see the Ultimate Pro as well, which we're not going to be featuring on this show, but indeed, I will be back with Crafty Session on Friday with Debbie Robinson, who's going to be doing a deep dive into that. But we will come back in about 3 or 4 minutes' time with more ideas for you. Get the questions in and get those comments coming in, and we'll fire them to Craig after this short break.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Are we in trouble or are we all right?
Yeah.
Should be coming in. Should be coming.
What did you do?
Exactly
what
how
did you do?
he looks.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us Craft along and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
And I watch you every day, and it's just what really gets you through when you're really at rock bottom.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
What makes Crafters TV so special is you guys.
It's really special because the experts are really experts. They're really skilled at what they do, and they want to make sure that the audience also improves on their skills.
Crafters TV is so special because you've got together a really sort of key group of people and people that are very passionate about the products.
Crafters TV is so special because it's a unique community that we have with each other, where we can learn and grow and communicate with each other.
Community, the family spirit, the education, everything to do with craft. We are all like-minded people who share a passion.
I love all the inspiration the demonstrators bring and all the knowledge for us out here.
What makes Crafters TV so special? 100% it's the interaction. No other crafting TV channel or show has the same interaction.
I love the community, I love chatting live, I think that's the best part. And it's gone beyond crafting because we've become friends.
It feels to me to be a really, really close relationship with our customers and viewers.
You guys make us feel like we're part of your family. I've never been on the show before, but one of my friends who I did meet from CCTV encouraged me, and I was on the craft along.
A massive team of people, and I think they've all got their role to play, and it just brings everything together. It allows us to do our job and just love it.
The people, obviously. The people not just here at Crafts Companion, but the viewers that watch us. I mean, everybody. We have this real magical essence about it.
Bye for now. Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Craft Your Stash. We are all things scoring today, all things box making. Any questions you want to ask about anything that we've got on the show, ask away. Anything you want to see, ask away, and we'll do our very best. So let's go down these. I'll read a few hellos and ask the questions as we go. So Kim Rice on Facebook is looking forward to finding out the best cardstock to make boxes with. So that is a good question. Which cardstocks should we be using? Is there like a minimum GSM, a maximum GSM? Talk us about the different cardstocks that we've got.
What I would say, because that is a brilliant question there, box making, anything when it comes to construction, if you can keep around the 300 GSM, then that is going to be the perfect one is 280 GSM when it comes to box making. Without complicating it, let's just round that up to make it really easy. The perfect one is going to be 300 GSM. Let's say 300 GSM just down the middle. But what you have got is you've got a little bit of scope. So if you open that up from, if you go from 250 GSM up to 350, that window is going to be absolutely perfect. If you want the spot on, I would say 280, 300, that's the spot on weight for your box making. But you can, depending on the cardstock that you've got at home, you can open up that window that little bit wider to 250 GSM to 350 GSM. The chances are, if you're using it with something like a 250 GSM, you're still going to be doing your mats and layers on top of that when it comes to pattern paper. So that's then, of course, going to increase that structure when it comes to the box making. As much as I love linen cardstock, I wouldn't necessarily do it with a linen cardstock. It's a little bit too light for your box making, certainly if you're going to be popping something inside there. So whether it's your white multi-purpose, your black, your craft, your Centura Peril, your luxury card, all of these are a lovely one to be using. But for me, mentally, personally, I always stick to around about that 300 GSM, give or take. You know, you've got that perfect weight, you're going to get that perfect construction when it comes to the box.
Keep them coming through. Great answer. This is the guide to ask. You see, this is the guide to ask. Question about the boxer board. Kim says, how do you use the boxer board without the Ultimate Pro? That's quite a good question, actually, because obviously with the Ultimate Pro, you'd have the edge to butt it up to, wouldn't you? So is it still... Oh, he's going to show you.
So you can use it without it. In all honesty, I would always try and use it with the Ultimate Pro
Yeah.
because that is the purpose for it. But what you can see here is you can see how it does just slot in. It slots into place here. But what you can do if you want to, and this is when, if we go back to glue school yesterday, if you think about your repositionable sprays, or of course, just come along with your low-tack tape. What you can do, Ben, is you can then come and then you can take your card. Now, keeping in mind, that is the true edge. If I refer back to the Ultimate Pro, and if I bring that one in, you will know that that right up to the left-hand side, that's your true measurement. So your boxer board, exactly the same as the scoreboard. You've got your measurements top and bottom. The top is the true measurements. The bottom is just out a little bit because that's going to be for your box base. So therefore, you're going to butt it up to the edge and do your scoring. But if you do have that on its own, then what you can simply do is just make sure that your cardstock is right up against the edge of your scoring board. Now the thing with this one is you are going to have to keep taking it off, turning it, taking it off with your low-tack tape. But this is a good way to show that it can still be done. So either that or your repositionable spray, and then you're just going to then score. You're going to score whatever you're scoring, the measurements that you're scoring. You just make sure that your cardstock is right up against that edge. Maybe you've got something that you can then, maybe you've got a wall or something. Maybe you've got your die cutting machine that you can have that up against. If not, make sure it's flush against the left-hand side, and then you can use it as a standalone board.
Fewer lows, then some more questions. Let me know when you're bored of the questions. If you've got something up your sleeve, feel free to, just go, shut up, Ben. You can whenever you want.
Oh, me, sorry. No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all, no.
Betsy Troop Black says, my two favourite guys. Good morning from Houston, Texas. Hi. Shaddai says, GM Lord Ben and Hottie Scotty Craig O'Bagel. Greetings from Texas, everyone, says Deborah Spencer. Good to see Craig and Ben. And Christy Mahoney says, hello, Bestie Boys. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Bestie Boys, that like the Beastie Boys?
That was the Beastie Boys, yeah. They were wrestlers.
What?
Is it the Beastie Boys?
Beastie Boys were rappers. You're thinking of the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys that I was thinking, yeah. We're not the Nasty Boys.
We're not the Nasty
Boys.
What were they called?
To each other, what are?
No, we are not. What were the two... What were they called, the Nasty Boys? Wasn't Barry and Bob? What were they called?
No, see, we're talking about the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys, yeah.
Charlotte's talking about the Chuckle Brothers.
Oh, well, that was...
Paul and Barry.
Yeah.
To me.
To you. Sorry, I'm thinking of the name. What they called... Wasn't one of them called, like... Knobs? Knobs and Sags. That's what they were called, the Nasty Boys. Knobs and Sags. Moving on. That was their actual... That's what they were called.
I know it is, but yeah.
Brian Knobs. And the other one was... What was the one's first name? Jerry Sags. Georgianne Curley says, maybe this is a demo for in a bit. Will Craig please show how to measure the item for the box so we know the size of the cardstock needed? That's a good one.
Say that again, sorry.
So basically, say for example, I said to you, I want to put one of our ink pads into a box. How would you go about measuring the...
On my list.
Oh, it's on his list to do?
Yeah.
It's on his to-do list.
It wasn't necessarily going to be an ink pad, but yeah, the what you're asking for, how do you make your box around the item, the project?
Yeah.
We'll show you that just shortly.
I don't know, but I bet I do know what he's going to make a box for. I bet I know what you're going to make a box for. You're going to make a box or something, aren't you, later on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet I know what you're going to put in it. A candle.
Oh, right. Well, no, I don't have a candle here with me.
Right. Oh, the way you said, like, I'm not doing it for an ink pad, made me think that you had something lined up to put in the box.
No, I'll just work around something. Yeah, no, I don't have a candle with me.
Still happy with the questions and requests?
Yeah, keep it going a moment.
Laurel Enos says, question, lol, can you both sing Halloween is Coming?
I've actually got my Halloween is Coming t-shirt on underneath.
Have you actually?
Yeah. Oh, I've got my mic pack.
Take it off, take it off, take it off.
Yeah, it's on my t-shirt. Ben, you might need to give me a hand and pull my jumper up.
Have you not seen the t-shirt, no?
I don't think I've...
Yeah, I'll hold your t-shirt down, you pull your top.
I think you're going to have to really pull it up.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Halloween is coming, Halloween is coming. Witches, cats and big black bats. Ooh. What is the best way, says Phil Watson, to cut acetate?
How to cut acetate?
That's what's come through.
Well, your guillotine.
Yeah.
Craft knife, scissors.
And is it and just to kind of go down that line of acetate as well, if we're scoring acetate,
yeah,
is that the same sort of technique as if we're scoring our cardstock?
Kind of, yeah. It depends if you're going to be using our construction acetate. Well, not kind of. I would say our construction acetate against our what's incredibly strong, thick plastic acetate with the foiling on it, the Halloween ones and that. What you would do is, yeah, I would probably do it lightly and a few times, but you're going to find that even just doing it once and then you fold it, it's a very, very therapeutic medium to fold when it comes to our acetate, because it just folds and it just clips together. It's absolutely fab to just score and fold, really, if I'm honest.
Alicia Gordon. Sometimes my lid fits too tight and I have to force it over my box, and I have the big scoreboard. Am I cutting off too much on my lid, she asks.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. When it comes to the main thing is, and we're going to do like a box making section just now. What you want to do is you want to make sure that both your cardstock is exactly the same size. You know, we don't say that just make sure it's the same size. We do it so that you've got that perfect amount of wiggle room against resistance. You don't want too much resistance, you don't want too much wiggle room, and it is all about the way that it's been engineered when it comes to the scoreboard, starting off with, you know, the Ultimate Pro, and that was Sarah and her dad all these years ago. So you're making sure that they're exactly the same size, and then it reverts back to what I was saying at the start about the measurements at the top being accurate, but the ones at the bottom are just a couple of mils out. So make sure they're both exactly the same, but we're going to cover that just in a moment. Do
you want more questions? I've got loads. I mean, I could do this for the rest of the afternoon.
If we do a couple more, and then I'll do a physical demonstration with the boxes, yeah.
Okay. Kim says, I don't know if you've got this planned, but how do you measure for a belly band if you're putting that round a box?
And you know, again, they'll all be really, really good questions. For that one, yeah, we'll show you just shortly. I quite literally take a long piece of cardstock, the width that I want, and then what I do myself is then I just wrap it around, and then I'll manipulate it within the corners. Maybe do that with this later on just to show you. But if I take this, for instance, so I know, actually this is a good one to show. So I know the base is 3 inches, the side's 3 inches on both sides, and then so is the top. So there we go. So we've got our 3, 6, 9, 12. So I would at least a strip of cardstock that's 12 inches. I would make it a little bit longer because you want to have an adhesive join over the top. So all that I would do for this, let's say 12.5 inches. So all that I would do is I would pop it up against my box lid side because I want it to be the true measurement. And then I would score at 3, 6, 9, 12, and then the 12.5. That's going to give me my perfect 3-inch score lines, and then I can then just twist that belly band all the way around, and then I've got that little bit of a 1/2 inch guide at the top for me to overlap and stick.
Okay, and one more for now. Sandra Dundas on YouTube. Craig, what is the best weight for envelopes, please?
Envelopes. So that one, whereas I was saying beforehand, when it comes to your box making, you want to have a look, you want to kind of have it within that area of 300 GSM. The perfect weight for your envelopes is going to be our paper pads. And not necessarily just our paper pads, but they are 180. So anything that is about 180 GSM, that's going to be absolutely spot on. That is why our paper pads, yes, for mats and layers, are phenomenal. They're great, they're beautiful, and they're gorgeous, but they work so well when it comes to our envelopes. Myself, I'm kind of splitting this show into two, where we start to have a look at the scoreboards and that, and then towards the end of the show we'll look at the envelope maker and that. But yeah, when it comes to our paper, right across the board, our paper pads are going to be the perfect weight for them. If you're looking out of Crafter's Companion, again, across the board, 180 GSM, they're going to be the perfect weight. You've got a little bit of wiggle room each side when it comes to GSM, but if you focus on round about 180 GSM, you're golden.
Hey, great questions, everyone. I'm loving this. This is what we're here for. This is what Craft Your Stash is all about. We'll have another demonstration with Craig right now, and then we'll perhaps have a bit of a break. And then when we come back off that, we'll then do some more questions then. So keep them coming in. I will try and keep track as to where we are. And you know, who knows, you might be thinking about asking a question, but maybe we already answer it in the middle of a demo or somebody else asked it. But ask away, any requests as well, ask, and we'll do our very, very best. And of course, if you see anything that you like that we're using on the show, shop the show or shop the day, you'll be able to see all of those deals and pick them up on the website. Right, what are you going to show us next, Craig?
Right, let's go right back to a basic box. I showed you kind of like an exploding box, gone from scoring into an exploding box, but let's go straight back to, of course, a normal box. So if we take our scoreboards, you can take whichever one. It all depends on the size of the box that you're wanting to make. If you want to make a large one, go with your big score. But if your cardstock's going to fit on your Score Master, then of course that's going to be a good one for you to use. So if I take, and I'm not going to go with any specific size here, it's just about showing you the box, how to create the box. So I've got a couple of pieces of our Pearl cardstock, and let's go to, let's do 8 by 8 for these. So with your box lid and your box space, if we refer back to what I was saying a moment ago, you make sure that your cardstock is exactly the same size. So even if it's a couple of mil out, that could be enough for it to jar, Ben, or be too flexible when it comes to your actual movement of the lid. And that's because if you're a couple of mils out, that's taking your couple of mils and the couple of mils out. So that could even equally go up to even, about maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that, maybe just before that. So if you've got just shy of 1/4 of an inch wiggle room, that's where your box lid. So that's why it's key that your cardstock is exactly the same size, because the wiggle room has already been taken into account with the box base. So we're going to go in and I'm going to have a look, and we're going to do it on the box lid side. So it is embossed, it's always harder to see on screen, but it says here box lid, and it's got an arrow pointing to this ridge here. So I'm going to go in with my cardstock, and we're going to go up to the ridge here on the left hand side, referring back to the fact that this is a true measurement here, and let's do a lid that we've got our 2-inch ridge all the way around. So I'm going to score lightly and then a few times. We're going to do that once again. So then therefore that's going to give me my 4-inch box lid, because I've got my 4-inch and then I've got my 2-inch and 2-inch. And then shortly what I'll do is we'll refer back to that question, Ben, about how do you size your box around a certain project. So we're going to take our second piece, which is exactly the same size, but what we're going to do this time is we're going to pop this up against the box base side. And it tells me here, and I'm going to do the same, but this time I'm following the measurements that are along the bottom. Now for me, I find it really, really difficult to score upwards. I don't know what it is, I find it really, really hard. So therefore, help yourself, just turn it around. As long as it is up against the box base side, doesn't matter if it's upside down or not, so then I can then score towards me. So we're doing exactly the same here. We're just going to then, of course, come along, score, and I'm doing the 2-inch once again, and then we're just going to turn, and then we're going to do that once again. So then that's giving me all my measurements. I've got my base and I've got my lid. We're going to go in, and then we're just going to fold all the edges. Do always give them a burnish afterwards. You can either fold and burnish, or do what I tend to do, and that is then fold and then burnish after I've done all the folds. So what I mean by that is you can fold and then burnish, fold and then burnish, or do what I do, and then that's just, I manipulate them all to start with, then I come round. Like now, I'm going to fold, I'm going to then fold, and I fold and press with my thumbs, and then what we then do is come along and give that a nice burnish. So we're just going to burnish all of these, and then we're going to come in with our scissors. So what you'll find as well, some people will do this a little bit differently, and it doesn't really matter because the end result's going to be the same, and that is the actual tabs. So where you've got your score line, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to then cut down to that first score line, and then I want to give myself a little bit of a tab. So I'm just going to come in at an angle there. Doesn't really how much, as long as you've got an angle that's been cut out, and then I twist and I do that all the way round. So I go into that one, I twist, cut, and do that on all 4 edges. We're going to cut down, and then we're going to cut. So that's how I do it. Some people, what they'll do, Ben, is they'll go cut, as I've just done a moment ago.
Yeah.
But then what they do is they'll do it on the opposite side.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
kind of like symmetrical.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Some people will do that. There is no right or wrong reason.
Really matter,
You're going to
does it?
get exactly the same result. It's whatever that you prefer doing. So sometimes if you see us making boxes and they might actually look a little bit different, the end result's going to be the same. It's just about how they've been snipped out. So if I take that out now, what we've then got is we will have, if I bring in my actual, going to go in with my tape runner.
Yep.
So I'm going to add my adhesive onto these tabs. So you're popping them on to each of these individual tabs.
Is that the best adhesive to go for? When because I know there's a few schools of thought with what adhesive for box making. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? So
This is where if you bring in what I was going over yesterday within the glue school, this is why these two shows together work really, really well. So old school, as I would say, when it comes to box making and construction, we would always use tacky glue or the red liner tape. And that's what I went over yesterday. Now, usually at home, I'll use tacky glue because I'm old school. It's always what I go back to. But nowadays, as things are advanced, products advance, our tape runners, these are so good for your construction. So yes, you can absolutely use our tape runner for our boxes. If you ever see me most of the time doing boxes and use a tacky glue, the only reason is I'm old school. I've done it for years and I still use a tacky glue. So our Collel tacky glue, our red liner tape, perfect for, of course, construction, but you can also use your tape runner as well. Incredibly strong, because the tape that's in our tape runner, it is technically, it is kind of like a formation of wet glue that's inside it. So therefore, if you are using it like I've done here, and the reason I am doing it is it's all about the box making, so I don't want to then spend a lot of time with the tacky glue. I want to get it done quick. There is my box base. I'm sure it's my box base. Now, if I was to then glue all of these bits all the way around, and what I'm going to do is just lightly put a little slither of glue, and let's attach that together, because you can then have different depths of box lid lips. Now, what I mean by that is if I pop that in, we've now got our perfect box.
Oh, you have, yeah.
But see how the depth of my box covers the base. Well, say you want to have that a little bit shallower, Ben. Maybe you want to see some of that box base as well. Maybe you want to do a little bit of die cut. What I do is I do exactly as I've done.
Yeah.
I cut it to the exact same size. I score my lid at the exact same size. Then I'll do the trimming. So if I undo that, and then let's say I only want half of that width.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is if we bring this back in, and remember, I'm up to 8 inches. So I'm going to cut at ½ an inch here. This could be 1/4 of an inch, ½ an inch, 3/4, entirely up to you. We're going to twist. We're going to do that again.
How much are you doing here? ½ an inch?
½ an inch, yeah. And this is just to show you.
Yeah.
You can do 1/4 of an inch or any measurement that you want. And then ½ an inch. So that's ½ an inch off each edge there. Then I can then attach that on into here. So let's add our glue on properly. Add that on, bring that in, close it over as we've done. And now what we've got is the perfect fitting lid, but this time, what I can do is I can see some of that base that's now showing. So we've got the lid that's showing beautifully and brightly, because it's the colour I've used, but because I've trimmed away at the bottom, I see some of the box base. So that could be a patterned, that could be a patterned cardstock if you wanted it to be. That could be a die cut edge. So if you want to incorporate your edgeable dies, what you could do is before you form the lid together, Ben, run your die along the base, through your Gemini, and then you're going to have a lovely decorative edge to the box lid.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to do the different depths and the different widths and the different decorations.
Quite nice actually if you've used a nice cardstock for the base. Nice to be able to see a little bit of it by just adjusting the size of that lid. Loads of lovely comments still coming through. G just saying Crafters Companion has the best cardstock, bar none, especially the metallics. I used an AG Gold with Collal, and on Crafters Companion paper it seems to wipe off. On the AG it wipes the finish off, so be careful when using. It is my go-to glue, the best. Sire Rusky on YouTube says thank you for the info, Craig. That's on the boxer board. Says I do have a lone boxer board and never thought of the low tack tape. Karen Fisher joined us saying hello from sunny Florida, and Carol Byrne is in as well. I can see the questions coming in. Sandra and Anne and Kathy and Peggy have all asked questions. We will deal with all of those shortly. Donna Yam says that Halloween t-shirt is great. Tell you should set up a little bit of a sideline, Craig. And Eleanor Murphy says hi from Shrub Oak, New York. We are having great Craig's clobber. That is brilliant. Craig's crafty clobber. Hi from Shrub Oak, New York, says Eleanor. We're having a great weather here. I love making boxes and find that my scoreboard is invaluable as I use it for so many things. I got the big score from HSN. Right, we will do some questions and more of your requests very shortly indeed. So keep those coming in. Loving the interactivity. We'll fire some questions at Craig in just a few moments' time. But we're going to take a break, and don't forget anything that you've seen on this show, any of the scoreboards, Top Score, Embella Box, all these kind of things, they're on the Shop the Day page on the website. So do pick those up, and we will come back in about 3 or 4 minutes' time.
We get to know people from places and walks of life that we wouldn't come across in our everyday life if it wasn't for Crafters TV and doing what we do.
I got so many lovely comments from people when I started doing the presenting, and it was just really such a lovely feeling. And it's nice that people keep messaging in. You know, we see the same people. We know you can build up that kind of relationship with those people. So it's just the fact that people like what we do and they're pleased. And I do love it when people send us photographs of the items that they've made.
We talk about customers, but really they go in as a customer, come out as a friend. The support that I get is amazing. The messages I get are amazing.
Me personally, it is personal interaction. I've never had the best of health. I've always been open about that with our viewers at Crafters TV. So many people are in the same situation as me health-wise. Other people have got a completely different health issues. They understand and they relate to what I'm going through, what others are going through. So whether we interact on a crafting basis or whether we interact on a health basis, a personal basis, we're all there to support one another. It is incredible.
The reaction of viewers when they come to meet us is worth all of the early mornings when we have to get up for our early morning shows.
Some of the customers come on as craft ambassadors and things like that, craft along with us, and being able to actually chat with them on air. I love it. I really love that connection with them.
We've had lots of shows where we've done like craft alongs, especially where we've had viewers craft along with us. We had a particular viewer, Joy, who joined us once before, and she literally made me cry on air, and Joe, because the things she said about us, it really was quite humbling that there are people out there that watch us and invite us into their living rooms and really treat us like family.
Pokey tools and paper pads, gilding, wax and stamping mats, scissors, glitter, builder blocks, faux snow fabric rocker blocks, Bria's misters, quilting clips, and die brush tools, precision snips, finger daubers, acetates, stencils, glue guns and templates, Gemini Pro, Julia and the OG, Gemini Go, Mini and the MIDI, tri-blend brush pens, aqua pens and aqua blends, illustrators, classics and tri-blends and color blends and glitter pens and sparkle pens, outliner pens. Fine tip glue, applicators, envelope box creators, stamping platforms, boxer boards, the big score and scoreboard, Nina card and craft card, glitter card, matte black card, craft kits, wadding and adhesive sheets, glass mats, guillotines and pen trays, ball tool, dice and zinc trays, mitre tools and binding tools and toe bags, USBs, bone folders and punches, low tuck tape, paint brushes, stamens, moundboard, flower forming foam, outline markers, DVDs, spelled quick writing pads and CDs, gilding flakes and washi tape, tacky glue, red liner tape, craft and sport press, sparkle pots, Centura, pearl and sticky dots, pigment, ink pads, chunky glue, body bags, all-purpose glue, embossing folders, blending tools, storage folders, much more too. Water reactive ink pads, body bags, craft magnets, year of craft and glue, stick and spray and stick away, dotty tape and split pens, acrylic paint pens, tape pens, watercolor card, rotary cutters, magazines and stamping card, Ultimate Pro and the rotating design board, Ultimate First Compendium, Sarah Signature Collections, and don't forget Discovery Kits. Oh, and there's foam pads, think that's it. One final thing, foam on a roll. Foam on a roll.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for the comments and questions coming through. Shall we do some more questions?
Yes.
Anne from the Twin Cities on YouTube says, the problem I have with making boxes is that the sides of the box bow out. They never seem sturdy enough to actually hold anything. Any comments on that?
Sounds like the weight that you're using. It sounds like the weight of the cardstock that you are using. What I would always recommend, although it's not ever essential, but when it comes to making boxes, I always decorate the edges with some pattern papers. You know, that's then going to give you extra stability. That's going to then strengthen the edges. So let's say, for instance, say you have got, let's say you want to make a box with linen cardstock. Although I would say, although as much as I love my linen cardstock, it's not always recommended for box making. Say you really did want to use a linen cardstock, you've got a favorite color. You can do it, and then what to do is strengthen the edges with pattern paper and mats and layers. That's then going to stabilize it. So if you have got a lighter weight. So from what you're saying, it does sound like it's going to be the weight of the cardstock. Also could be depending on the size of the actual box as well. Is it a wide but shallow box, or then is it a small but thicker box? So things like that you need to take into account. But if you are going to be doing it, if you do stick to around about the 300 GSM, as I say, and then if you are wanting to strengthen it, just go in with some mats and layers and pattern paper, just to then spruce it up. Not only will it spruce it up, but then it's then going to strengthen it as well.
Mary Celia with a question. I think potentially, well, let's see what Craig does. Ben and Craig, good afternoon from a beautiful Malta. I'd love to go to Malta. I bet it's warm. Is it warm in Malta? A question, please. Craig, can Craig give us the measurements and which lines I have to score to make an envelope? Thanks in advance. Now, I suppose that there depends on what size card, but also if you're making envelopes, then you're probably better off, aren't you, getting the enveloper, aren't you, than a normal scoreboard?
Absolutely, yeah. And once we've done the next one when it comes to box making, we're going to move on to that. That one I would say completely, as Ben says, the great thing with the enveloper is all the different sizes of envelopes that you can do. But then, of course, you can do the different sizes, you can do the different depths as well, because you can do your box envelopes. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like a stab in the dark as to the actual measurement that you need to know. But what we'll do is we'll just talk you through it just shortly when it comes to a couple of the envelope sizes I'm going to do.
Okay, so we'll look at that in just a bit. Kathy says, so which one do I need to fit my 12 by 12 paper? I assume you're talking about scoreboards there. That would be the big one, wouldn't it? Big score.
Yeah, so the large one, the large one, so if I bring in my cardstock here, so your big score, and bring in my 12 by 12, your big score that you will see here, that then fits your 12 by 12 perfectly. The height and the width. However, your score master will fit your 12 by 12 in the height, it's just not as long. So the height of it, you can use it with your score master, and depending on what you're using as well, because you can score, Ben, on your score master and then flip your cardstock around. So it completely depends on what you're wanting to do. As we refer back to earlier on, Ben, if you can only go for one, go for a largest one, because then you can do everything. You're not restricted. But your big score, that is then going to fit not only your 12 by 12, but Ben, that fits your A3 as well, so your larger card.
Good questions coming in. Peggy Sue Whiskersill says, have you got any tips on getting rid of a score line that you made by mistake?
Yes.
He has.
I do indeed. I tell you what, we'll cover that within this next demo.
Oh, we're going to do it in the next demo, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Kim Fisher from WikiWatchy. Barbara, do you want another question?
Yeah, go for it.
Beatrice EK says, Craig, what about deeper boxes? What would be the measurements there, i.e. 6-inch, 7-inch boxes? I think she's talking about the lid.
It completely depends what you're wanting to put. It depends on the width of what you're popping in there. Depends on, of course, how big your cardstock needs to be. You know, because you might want to have, I don't know, a deep box, but then what you're popping inside might be quite shallow or not as wide compared to something that's going to be wider. So it really does depend. The larger the box, the deeper the box, the bigger your cardstock that you're going to have to use. So it's another little bit of a tricky one to answer on that one.
One more, well, a couple more. So are we going to be looking at any of these treat boxes, Emma's asking, during the show?
Towards the end, we can run a couple through.
Yeah, the picnic treat box.
Picnic one, my favourite one.
Okay. And also, Zoe says, I never know how to cut after scoring/embossing. Do you cut down the middle of the score line or to one side of it?
Brilliant question. Absolutely brilliant question. So tell you what, let's cover that within this one as well, Ben.
There we go.
Let's do it all. So if you do an accidental score line, just to say with an accidental score line, you're not going to eliminate that score line perfectly.
No.
But you will be able to eliminate it slightly. And then what we'll also do is I'll show you about where to cut as well. Because it's a bit like the guillotine. Do you measure right in the middle of that measurement, or do you go to the left, or do you go to the right? It can make a difference. Right, so you've got something, you've made something, you've bought something, and you want to make a box with it. I've got 4 of our water reactive ink pads here that we've got. I'm going to give Charlotte a helping hand, and I'm going to move my board right up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my actual inks. So if I'm wanting to make a box that's then going to fit these ones here. So with these ones here, so the actual, the width of them, Ben, is just over 2 3/4. So let's say the width of them is 3 inches. So I'm just going to go along. So I'm just going to do an oval. So the width of them here is 3 inches. Now the height of them is 4 inches. Now, of course, I want to give myself that little bit of give. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that is then 4 1/4 inches. Now, the height of them all together, that is then 2 inches. So what I'm then going to do is I just need to keep in mind the height of them is 2 inches. So what I then need to do is, so that is the actual length of them, I suppose you want to say, is 4 4/4 inch. So what I also then need to do is I need to add on 2 inches and then 2 inches. So then that's going to be 8 1/4 inches. Now, of course, the width of it is 3 inches, and I need to add 2 inches, and I need to add 2 inches. 7 inches. That is. I had to think about that one there.
Yes.
So 7 inches. So I need a piece of cardstock that is 8 1/4 by 7 inches, and then I'm going to score at 2 inches. Because I've taken whatever is let's say, the width of it, and then I've added on what the depth's going to be, and then the same with the length of it. I've taken whatever the length it is, and then I've added on whatever the depth's going to be. The depth, of course, is 2 inches, because that's the height. So if I let's bring in our cardstock, and if I cut this one, so I'm going to cut both of these ones here. So as I said, 8 1/4. So if I go 8 1/4 by 7, and then we're going to do the same, what will be our base or our lid. So we're going to go 8 1/4 by 7. So let's bring in our scoreboard. I'm just going to bring in my score master for this one. So if I bring back my little notes again, so I need to be scoring at the 2 inches, because that's then going to be the depth of it. So if I bring this in, so on my box lid side, I'm going to score at 2 inches. I'm then going to score at 2 inches. I'm going to then score at 2, and then I'm going to score at 2 inches here. So we'll be able to see in a moment that that's then going to fit inside. Now let's just say I've made a little mistake there when it comes to scoring.
Oh yeah.
What I can then do, Ben, turn it back on itself and lightly press back in.
Okay.
Lightly press back in, go back onto the other side, lightly press. So I'm kind of like getting touch feather light each time that I do this. Ever so lightly, ever so lightly. And then if I tilt it, so can we see our score line on the right hand side?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be better that way. The score line on the right hand side, but I've pretty much now eliminated it on the left hand side.
Yeah,
So
like you say, it's not 100%, but
No,
it's
no.
95%.
But it's a big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just means you can then go in and then score the actual measurement that you're wanting. So I'm then going to come into my box base. So again, we're going to go up to the right hand side. I'm going to turn it and flip it because it's easier for myself. And then we're going to score at 2 inches again. So we're then going to score at 2 inches all the way around. We're going to come in with the last side here. And then we're going to come in with our scissors. So I'm going to fold and burnish these, and then we will then cut, and I'll show you where we're going to cut within this one here on the lines. Because it is even something like that, it could be a question that some people might not think to ask, they might not want to ask, they might think it's an obvious question, and it's not. It's one of those things, there's no such thing as like a silly question. If it's something that you're unaware of, then of course, ask away. So what I'm going to do within this one here is, when it comes to the cut, we're going to be cutting. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go just to that left-hand side. So I'm going to go just to the left-hand side, and then I'm going to snip that away. So essentially, what I'm actually doing, Ben, is I'm getting rid of my score line that I've already done, or my emboss line. So I can't see my emboss line because I've cut it away. So again, if I look at my emboss line there, you can, some people think, do I go right down the middle of it? But what to do is come to the left-hand side, just so that you're eliminating that score line. You're taking away that little bit of an excess piece of card, because essentially that score line must be about 1 millimetre or so. So take that out, snip that to the left-hand side, and then cut out. And then we're just going to do the same with what will be the lid. So cut to the left-hand side of your score line, and then we're going to do the left-hand side. Now this only refers to anything like, say, your box making. When it comes to things such as our scoreboards for the Ultimate Pro that I know you and Debbie have got on Friday, when you do the scoring on the scoreboards for maybe like the teddy or the butterfly, I will cut to the outer edge because I like that little ridged, embossed edge to it. Makes it look that little bit professional with having that embossed edge. And then all that we're going to do is we're going to come along and we're just going to add our tape. So whether it's your tacky glue.
Just going back to that, and I know you sort of touched on it. So when you're using the guillotine and you're cutting with the guillotine, you're lining up. Do you line the cardstock line the cardstock up into the middle of the groove, or to the side, just like in line with the side of the groove?
So you go to the left-hand side of the groove.
So as far as you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to go right to the side of it, and then that's going to give you your true measurement. So between the cut of your guillotine and the score of your cardstock. So if we come in now with what is our box base, and then we can then add our tape on, bring these together, hold that in, cross over each one, slot it in. We're going to press, and if you remember, that is then going to be my box base. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to come along and then And remember, if I wanted that to be a bit thinner, I would just cut it before I actually start to form it. So if I bring them ones out, once again, what you're going to do is whatever it is that you're wanting to make a box. So whatever the height is, you need to take into account how thick, the depth of it. So this is 2 inches because the height of these is 2 inches. So with that one being 4 1/4, so that's 4 1/4, and then we're going to add 2 inches and add 2 inches, and then whatever the width is, so the width of this is 3 inches, so it's going to be 3 inches, we're going to add 2 inches, add 2 inches, and then of course, because it's 2 inches, that's what we score at to make the box, and then they will all slot into there, and then there's your little box, your lid, your base for whatever you've made, whatever you've bought, and whatever you're going to be gifting.
So good, isn't it? Peg's just saying thank you for this live. We are going to Disney this week, and I want to make some boxes to hold mementos. I think it's that time of year as well, isn't it? As we go into, you know, that festive period in a few weeks' time. Nice to be able to make bespoke boxes for gifts, because you go to your stores, you go to your card shops, whatever, and you can pay a fortune for boxes, and you're never going to get the exact right size box for whatever the gift might be. So this is a great way to be able to do it. And of course, Thanksgiving will be here before you know it as well. So it's a great opportunity to learn, and also a great opportunity to maybe refresh your memory. Like Heidi says, good morning from Idaho. Hi, Heidi Hess. Heidi says, I've been crafting for a while. It's always good to get a refresher course. Who knows, there might be something new to learn. Absolutely. New stuff to learn, and also, just might sort of reinvigorate a spark in your mind and go, oh yeah, I remember how to do that now. We get a few questions coming in about the enveloper, so I know we're going to go to going on to that in just a few moments' time. So questions like, for example, well, we had the question, didn't we, about showing how to make an envelope. Nalini just saying, hi, when Craig shows the enveloper, can he make a box with a depth? Because I find it very difficult to stick the envelope together. It seems to bow. Does he have any tips? I'm sure you will.
Yeah, we'll go over that.
Carol G says, thank you, Craig. An excellent tip for eliminating a score line. Thank you, Craig. Was good, that, wasn't it? He is full of good tips. Craig. What I always say about him. Evelyn says, hi, everyone. Late, but watching. Thank you, Craig. Great demo, Craig, says Samantha. Thank you, Craig. Perfect demonstration, says Zoe Carver. And Cat Butt.
Cat. For Montrose. I'm going to go up there at the end of the month.
What, to see Cat?
Well, no, but I'm going up to Scotland. I'm going back home at the end of the month.
How far is Montrose from Carnoustie?
So you're maybe about 50 minutes from Carnoustie.
Is it?
Yeah, so you've got Dundee, you've got Carnoustie, you've got Arbroath, and then you've got Montrose that then goes up into Aberdeen.
Is Montrose by the sea like Carnoustie?
It is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do like a Scottish, well, yeah, actually you need to do a Scottish road trip because you've lived there, haven't you? So you know what it's like.
Me doing a Scottish road trip.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, the closest the higher up that I've ever been is Aberdeen.
I've been to Aberdeen.
I've been from Scotland. I've never done a Scottish road trip. I'd love to.
Oh, should we add that to the list of things to do when we do our US road trip then?
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah.
We should
do. We could do a whole little series. We could go and craft by the banks of Loch Ness.
The Loch Ness Monster, yeah. Yep. Nessie. Yeah, we could do a little bit of artwork with Nessie. We could get our aqua pens out.
Yes,
yeah.
And use the water from
from Nessie, yeah.
And draw Nessie.
Nessie.
Yeah. Hey! New Crafters TV show, road trip with Craig and Ben, says Susie. That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. I'll put on my best Scottish accent. Hey! Kat's got a question, Craig. She says...
I love it when you do that. It's so good. You would actually think Billy Connolly was in the room.
Just got to be careful when I do it.
Yes,
I sometimes do the impression off air.
Because you've been very careful. It's not what you're like when you do his impressions off air.
No. Have to be very careful. Anyway, Kat says...
Yes.
Kat from Montrose. Is red liner tape best? I know we covered this earlier, but you weren't watching, obviously. Is red liner tape best for making gift bags for bottles? I know we didn't cover that earlier.
So I would say, yeah, so when it comes to something like that, again, it's about the strength, isn't it? So when it comes to the adhesive, you want to make it so strong. So either tacky glue or, of course, when it comes to your red liner tape. Yes, your tape runner is good for construction, but if you've got something that is really heavy, like a jar of a candle or wine or something like that, you know, I would stabilise the base, but what I would do is I would use the tacky glue or the red liner tape. So it's also about what you're popping in the gift bag or the gift box. So for that, I would use red liner tape's fine, or your tacky glue.
Gwenda G says, I'll ask the question, but I have a feeling, well, I don't know, he might know, I don't know if you will, but he might know where you need to go to find the answer for this. I'm just tuning in, so I'm not sure if this has been asked, but can Craig make the box size that was used for the Advent train that we showed in Christmas in July? No, I didn't. That look on your face tells me. Is there a blog for that somewhere? The Advent train. Do you remember the Advent calendar train? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but you don't know the... You don't know the
I haven't,
size?
No.
You mean you haven't committed that to memory? Outrageous, he doesn't know. He doesn't know, Gwenda. You've stumped him the first question in 2 days that he doesn't know the answer to. How big was that train? You know the train I mean, don't you?
I know the train that you mean.
How big was it? Gwenda, I'm sure there's a blog somewhere. I'm sure there is.
Mm-hmm. I'll need to double check that.
We'll try and find out for you. What was it made with? Card. Oh, I can't remember. I think it was made out of craft card. Sorry, Gwenda. I said I'd ask all the questions. Anyone else though? Let us know. More questions coming through. There's loads of them here now. Mary says, making boxes is very addictive. Once I start, it's very hard to stop and make other things. Oh, it was posted on Facebook, Tammy says, the measurements for the... Tammy, could you do us a favour? Oh, it was posted yesterday on Facebook, apparently Hannah said. So whereabouts? Let Gwenda know, or let us know, so we can tell Gwenda where that was posted. Samantha says, Craig, is there a measurement formula for cutting your paper size if you don't have a scoreboard?
Is there a measurement formula?
For cutting your paper size if you don't have a scoreboard. I would say have a scoreboard, just going to make it easier. Yeah. Or am I being stupid here? Or if you don't have a just a ruler? Or your glass mat with the measurements on it? Yeah, but scoreboard's easier, isn't it? Yeah. Scoreboard is the way forward. Can you read that out again? Sorry, Ben. Is there a measurement formula for cutting your paper side if you don't have a Crafter's Companion scoreboard? Ah, okay. I get what you're meaning now. Yeah, I see what you... Yeah, scoreboard all the way. Mm. Scoreboard all the way. It's going to make life so much easier. Yeah. And the sizes and that. It's just so much easier. And one more before we've covered this already, but I know people are joining all the time. C. Hemsley says, hello, I missed the box making. Are the box and lid made the same size, or is the lid a little bit bigger for a better fit? Exactly the same. Exactly the same. You see me make it, you see me cut it, and it's exactly the same. It's not a little bit too big, or it's not a little bit too small. It's exactly the same size, lid and base. It's a 2-inch box for the Christmas train, says Elaine Cirillo, by the way. There we go. And Hannah says the instructions for the Advent calendar were posted yesterday on Facebook. And Lucine says, we'll get on to the developer in a second. She says, Lucine here from beautiful Kissimmee. Okay, so when you take measurements for an object, the true measurement is for the lid. Would you need to make allowance for a tight fit? No, it's no different. Whether you are doing a straightforward square box like, it's no different to whether you're making a box like this that is very, very simple, or you're working your measurement. Whatever the measurement is that you work for the base, it's going to be exactly the same for the lid. Remember, the actual scoring board itself takes that into account when it comes to the lid size. So if you are doing a custom size box, the lid and the base is exactly the same size, and the score is exactly the same. The only difference is, of course, the base you score on the base side, and then the lid you score on the lid side. So there's no difference whatsoever. Elizabeth says, thank you, Craig. This is an invaluable live. I'm saving it to watch again. Kat says, thank you, Craig. I'm getting some whiskey on my cruise at the end of the week up the Caledonia Canal.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And also, thank you to Peggy Whiskersill, who says, oh my goodness, our kitty is named Nessie. She just came running in the room when you were saying Nessie.
Oh, Nessie.
Nessie.
Oh, Nessie.
Nessie's a really cute name.
It's a really, really nice name.
Good morning. What?
I was just waiting, wonder if it's big as Nessie.
What if the cat's as big as
Nessie?
How big is Nessie then? No one knows.
She's huge.
Have you seen Nessie?
Huge. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Of course she exists. Yeah.
Have you got one of those thistle whistles? Remember that TV show? The Family Ness?
Family Ness?
Don't remember that cartoon? And Nessie used to come out and...
Yes, I do.
They blew their thistle whistles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't actually.
Lynn says, Ben and Craig, by any chance are you going to show the shadow box die on the show today?
Shadow box. So I know we've got them on. Probably not, but didn't Michelle use them within her craft along at the weekend? Yes, she did.
Oh, okay.
She did. So I don't know why this is just randomly sitting on the side here.
Look at that.
But she used our shadow boxes for the top and the base. So we probably won't have time to actually fully focus on. Like everything as well, though, go onto YouTube, put in Crafters TV, put in shadow boxes or whatever the collection that it is. If you want to see them in a wee bit more detail, Michelle did use them on Saturday, I want to say, with her craft along. So that's the best place to go.
Marvellous. Hi, Sarah, who's joined us from a stormy Arkansas. Should we have a look then at the enveloper? Because I think that's where a lot of questions are now sort of lying and coming in from. So let's have a look at this with Craig. So people interested to know how to make the different sizes, and then also questions coming in about making envelopes with depth.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, this is one of those things, if you've never seen this before, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's like something out of the Big Bang Theory table. And, you know, it is at first, it's like, whoa. But do you know what? You're probably going to be using a very, very small amount of the measurements here. Once you get to grips to it, it's very, very straightforward. You do get your instructions here, your step-by-step, and then you've got your actual envelopes creator, which is what it's for. Now, you do have them within millimetres, and then as you go a little bit further on, you've got them in inches here. So as I say, you can do, when it comes to millimetres, you've then got your flat envelope, you've then got your 12 mil in depth, you've then got your 18 mil in depth, you've got your 24 mil in depth, and then what you're going to find then, this is when you go into the measurements of your inches. This is your inches where you can do a flat envelope, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch in depth. So what we can do is, let's do a flat envelope and then let's do a thicker envelope so we can show you them both. So I always go with inches here. Now, when it comes to the actual guide itself, so this is all about, you know, the actual size of the envelope. So if you're wanting to do a 3x3 envelope, start at 3 inch, come in at 3 inch, and then that is the details that you need. I'm not going to go over that because I'm not going to use that. We'll do it with the measurement I'm going to do. But if you want to do a 4x5.5 envelope, flat envelope, all that you're going to do, Ben, is you're going to look at your 4 inch, you're going to look at your 5.5, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to come in and along, join them together, and then that will be the size of the cardstock that you need. Once again, if you want to do a 6.5 by 7 inch envelope, 6.5 by 7, you're going to come down, you're going to come along, and then there's the details that you need.
And the colours of the boxes are relating to the size of the cards that you need, correct?
Absolutely, right. Yeah. One step ahead of me there, Benjamin.
Sorry.
That's okay. Not at all. Not at all. What you have got, as you can see within here, you've got white and you've got blue. So what that then indicates is the size of the cardstock as a guide to start with. So anything that's in white, you will need cardstock that's either A4 in size or US letter size. Anything that's in blue, you will need up to A3 or 12 by 12. Anything that's in yellow, which we don't have when it comes to a flat, you're starting to see yellow later on, you're going to need your larger cardstock, so larger than A3. So even as a quick visual, you know, right, A4 is going to be fine, 12 by 12 is going to be fine, or you need larger one. So I said this is going to be for a flat envelope. So let's do very, very simple for this one here. Let's do a 6 by 5.5 envelope. So 6 inch by 5.5. We're going to come down, and then we're going to, actually that's a bang on 9 inch. Let's do, trying to make it, not difficult for myself, but I want to do it a little bit different so let's do 6 by 6.5. So 6.5 by 6 inch envelope. I'm going to need a piece of cardstock that's 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. So let's bring in, I'm going to go in with the sunflower collection here, and then I'm going to take my paper. So as I said, if we bring that back in there, we're going to need our 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. So let's cut this in. So we're going to go 9 3/4 here. Let's just make that straight. And when I'm cutting, and this is going to go back to what you were saying beforehand, Ben. So I'm going to the 3/4 mark here, and I'm going to go just to that right-hand side of it. So there is my 9, that's my 3/4, 9 3/4 where my paper is now.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm just going to the right-hand side of it. That is the absolute bang-on true measurement. I'm not going in the middle of that little mark or to the left-hand side. I'm going to the right-hand side.
Oh, the right-hand side.
The right-hand side.
Ah.
That's my true measurement. So we're going to flip that around, do that again. So we're going to go to the right-hand side. We're just there at the right-hand side. And then let's move that along a bit and cut. So that's my true 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. And I know that because if I was to go up to my glass mat, bang on 9 3/4 by 9 3/4 that we can just see there. Absolutely bang on the money. So there we go. If you're using your guillotine, make sure you're towards that right-hand side. That's going to be bang on. And things like this, it is important, Ben, to be accurate with the guillotine cut and the score, because that's where you've got that formulation, and that's where you get your ends or your lids or your tabs. That's where they're all going to come together. And just that little bit, if it's out by a little bit, it's more than enough sometimes just to knock it off kilter and it doesn't quite line up. So we've got my 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. So let's come back in. So if I bring it back down, what I need to remember now, Ben, is I need to use position I and J. Because it is a flat envelope, I only need to use position 1 on the scoreboard. So I and J in position 1. So we're going to come in to our envelope creator, and what we have got is we've got all of these little, these little channels, these little steps, and embossed is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is your flat envelope. That's then your 1/2 inch. That is then your 3/4 inch, etc., etc. So as I said, I need position 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my cardstock into position 1, and it slots in together. Just goes into that 90 degree and just slots in. But what you've also got is you've got channels at the top here. So that's keeping it bang on. That's keeping it at the level that you need and the angle that you need. So then we're going to go in. Remember I said I and J.
Yeah.
I and J. So what we're going to do is we're going to come along, and we've got our A, B, C, D all the way up to G. So we'll start at A, and we're going all the way up to G. So if I tilt that, there we go. You can just start to see it. There we go. So starting at A, all the way up to G. So what I need to do now is I need to score at, we're going all the way up to O. I need to score at I. So let's pop that back into position, and then I'm going to score at I. Now, because I'm using my 180, I'm doing this quite light and just doing it a couple of times. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to this side here. So twist it and turn it all the way around to the opposite side. And I'm going to do I again. So lightly in a few times. And then our 2 remaining sides here, this is where we're going to score J. So we're then going to look at J. and then we're going to score. And what will happen is you'll have a little triangle overlap. Now I know it's not apparent at the moment, but I'll show you when I cut it. So then we're flipped to the other side. Again, lock that in, and then we're going to score at J. So cross that over. Then we're going to come along, and what's going to happen is I'm going to go in with a pencil line so you can see. This is where it crosses over, Ben. So it crosses over at these 4 points. Now, of course, you don't need to do the pencil line. I'm doing it so that you can see. So that's where it crosses over. So for a flat envelope, all you're going to do is you're just going to chop those little triangles out. You're going to chop them out with your scissors. We're then going to go in with the last one, or the last 2 here, chop them out, and then we're going to go in, and then we're going to chop out. And then what we can then do is then we can then start to fold in. So we're going to fold in along our score line that we've already done. We're just going to go along, fold, manipulate, and press in. We're then going to go along and fold, manipulate, press in. And because we've taken those little triangles out, they neatly come together like an envelope. And then we're just going to then fold, give that a nice press, give that a nice burnish, and then what we're going to be left with is our perfect envelope.
Yes, look at that.
So let's come along. So I'm going to add my tape, and you'll see how it crosses over. So we're going to add our tape down here, tape down there. We're going to fold that in on itself. We're going to press that in. And then whether you want to use something like an adhesive seal for envelopes or you want to do a wax seal, but if I move that one up here, we can see we've now got our perfect envelope that we've just gone over there, and that's going to fit your cards, and that's just a lovely flat envelope. So you can do that with your pattern papers. You can then come along and do a little bit of ink and distress, whatever you want, but that's the basis of a flat envelope. So whatever measurement you're following within your actual guide, that's what you're going to do for a flat envelope. Really, really simple. Now think of all of your Sarah's Signature, Nature Garden, pattern papers that you've got that you can do your envelopes out of.
Incredible. I know we are still yet going to look at making an envelope with some depth. A few messages coming through. Carrie says, mystery solved. I wasn't cutting my 12 by 12 paper down to the right size. No wonder this wasn't making any sense to me. Thank you so much, Craig. This has been so helpful.
You're welcome.
And Catherine says, Craig, can you show me how to make an impenetrable box to put my credit cards in to stop me buying everything that Crafter's Companion makes? Must make one before birthday week.
I fell for that there. I was thinking, oh, what box you want me to make?
An impenetrable box. You'd have to get your welder and your blowtorch out for that, wouldn't you, I think? Some padlocks as well.
The only time I use my blowtorch is when I'm making lemon meringue pie.
Oh, because you make the, what do you call it?
Meringue and the top,
what do you call it?
Meringue.
No, yeah, I know, but there's a word, isn't there? Like
blowtorch.
No, there's
Toast it.
No, what's the name of that? Using a blowtorch in your cooking, there's a name for it. It's not called burning it. There's
Toasting
a name.
it.
No, there's a name for it. It's a posh name. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Thank you, Craig. Anyway, this is Tammy for showing flat envelopes. Have you actually got a blowtorch in the kitchen?
Yeah, I do.
No, you haven't.
I kid you not, I've got a blowtorch. Like, not a huge one, but I've got like a small one. I did buy it from a cooking shop for my lemon meringue pies. What?
I just find that really funny. Is that the only thing you use it for? Do you ever, like, if you're in a hurry in the morning and you haven't made your toast, you just quickly get some bread and just go...
Oh no, I just leave it for my lemon meringue.
Caramelising it. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. A question about a DL envelope.
Oh, sorry.
What?
I've just seen Debbie Fisher walk in there. I was like, oh my
Hello.
God. Hi.
We're on air, Debbie.
We're on air.
That's fine.
We're
You can come and say hello. They're all friends here. 3 till 5. You know the new times we're doing now.
Look.
Hello, everyone.
Oh.
You're right.
Can I give Craig a cuddle now?
Oh, you better, yeah, because otherwise you'll...
You were all the way to
moan.
Thorpe Park. Did you have a good time?
Oh, it was amazing.
Oh, so jealous. So jealous. Oh, Oh my gosh.
Oh, my boys are in the building and I'm not.
I know.
Oh, what?
My boys are
Oh,
in the
your
building.
boys are in the
yes,
building.
Yes, hello
Yeah.
everyone. I'm in
Yeah.
all day tomorrow though.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Does what she wants, doesn't she? Does what she wants. Middle of a show. Nice to see you. To see you.
Nice.
Are we? What are we doing now? Oh, we're having a break, and then we're going to come back and we'll make an envelope.
We will.
With some depth to it as well. And there's some other questions which I've just seen, so we'll do those. Zoe Carver says, flambe, Ben. Same to you. Johnny said no, it's just the way he stood. And on that note, here's a short break. We'll be back in about 4 minutes.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Are we in trouble or are we all right?
Yeah.
Should be coming in. Should be coming.
What does she do?
Exactly
What
how
does she do?
he looks.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
And I watch you every day, and it's just what really gets you through when you're really at rock bottom.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
There once was a man who was very crafty. His name was Craig from Carnoustie. He joined the team on Crafters TV. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live. He wanted to prove he was the man, but he lost at craft wars to Leanne. But 2 weeks later he beat Jan. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live. He did so well on Crafters TV, Sarah sent him off to Germany, where he did some work for QVC. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live. His crafting skills, they aren't half bad. In fact, I'd say they're totally rad. That's mainly down to his favourite foam pads. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live. The crafters, they loved him a lottie for his charm and skill. They went quite potty, they nicknamed him the Hardy Scotty. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live. In the crafting world, he's standing tall. He's the best Scottish crafter of them all. Catch him Monday to Friday on his wake-up call. Oh, crafty Scottish man craft. Soon may the crafty man come to bring us demos and inspiration. Each day when his crafting is done, he might do a Facebook Live.
Welcome back, everybody. Ben says, Hannah, I have a cook's blowtorch and a plumber's blowtorch. Well, all right. Both for cooking, though, says Hannah. I never thought we'd get on to talking about blowtorches in the show, but there you go. How did we get onto that?
Lemon meringue, yeah.
Oh, you can see your baked Alaska.
Yeah, but no, lemon meringue pie.
Oh, lemon meringue pie.
It is very difficult, but I'm very good at it, Charlotte.
You're very good at making lemon meringue pie?
Yeah, I make the whole lot. I do the pastry, I do the lemon curd, and I do the meringue as well.
You might want to make one for the team then?
I might not. Doesn't last long.
Who likes carrot cake?
Oh, I love carrot cake.
I'll bring in a carrot cake then. Maybe we should do like
shop bought though.
No, I make it.
Do you?
What do you mean shop bought? I make a nice carrot cake, and I also make a very nice banana cake. If anyone likes banana cake.
Yeah, I do a good banana cake as well.
I do a really good banana cake.
And I do really good shortbread.
Do you? Me, I do a very good soup as well. You make soup too, don't you?
I make soup.
Yeah, I make really, really good soup.
Carrot and coriander.
Yeah. Oh, do you know my favourite? Spicy sweet potato. Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Some good rustic oat cakes. Oat cakes as well.
Oat cakes?
Oat cakes.
Oat cakes.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, nice. They're like a sweet, savoury version of like digestives. But they can be thick or they could be thin. Get it with soup. Oh, it's nice for an autumnal day.
Ooh.
Welcome to Bake Off, everyone.
Soup and cake fry.
Let's line all of that up against the top when it comes to our scoreboard or our guillotine. Cut, twist, and 11 and a half. I'm just going to then make sure that's nice and straight. So let's take J and L.
JL.
J and L. So let's start with J. We need to the L and so we're cutting down, snip that little triangle out. And then we're just going to then cut into place. So that's given me my little tab dial or even just a little glue to seal.
Absolutely brilliant. Your question, more crafty stash coming very soon.